Hey everybody, it's Jeanette Johnson with Century 21 Connect Realty.
And as always, Isaiah Lyles with Primerica Financial Services.
And welcome to Mind Your Business Show. So Isaiah, today we are going to be talking about social media.
Social media, eh?
Yes, social media and the effects it has on our population, on today's society, when it comes down to how money works and just kind of the illusion it gives to people in a sense of, does it negatively affect the general population's opinion on how money works?
Okay. So what do you think? Do you think it's having a negative effect on the way we're thinking? Is it skewing some things?
Well, I would say that it is. I think that there's a lot of things that we are presented when it comes to the media on how you should kind of live your life. Everybody has a very skewed opinion on what they think their life is supposed to be like. A lot of the times because we see stuff in little clips.
Yeah.
You know, we're
sure.
all on TikTok. We're all on social media. That is social media. We're all on TikTok. We're all on, does anybody still go on Twitter?
I think so.
We're all on Twitter. We're all on Facebook. We're all on these different platforms, and we see all of these highlight reels, right? So when you're looking at a highlight reel, you go, wow, their life must be perfect. Everything that they're showing me is amazing. I love their house. They just bought a new house. I'm not there. They just got a new car. I'm still driving the car that was a hand-me-down from, my family, if you were even lucky enough to get that. I love their new shoes. They keep showing me all the makeup that they buy. Like, it's just a highlight reel. I mean, we all have moments, right, in your life.
A lot of consumption, too.
A lot of consumption.
Overconsumption.
Yeah. I mean, would you agree in the sense of we're just a tiny glimpse of what reality really is for people?
Yes, I would 1,000% agree with that. And I like how you went about it from an angle of the materialistic side of things and the culture that's developing that says, okay, we need to consume, we need more, we need this, we need that. And this is what gives us our value in society, right? And I would also agree with that. But from my angle, I see a lot of the just short clips, and there's a lot of just information out here, and there's a lot of, and when you're thinking about financial information, these are big major topics. These are big major decisions that people are making in their lives, whether it be buying a home or saving for the future, saving for retirement, college education for their children moving forwards, really just establishing enough for the next generation. And what you see is these short clips and people trying to get all their information from a 1-minute video. And that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
And I would also say that it's just so much information. There's so many different angles, so many different ideas and opinions of what to do.
When you scroll, like you're saying, so much information, and I'm super guilty of it just before bed, like scrolling through TikTok to the point where, something pops up and it's like, are you still awake? Are you still scrolling? And it's like, okay, I'm glad that they are putting stuff like that in there to kind of stop us and put a pause on our consumption. But it's so much information at once. It's like, how do you find the best information? How do you kind of filter through all of this stuff?
Right.
And how do you keep yourself mentally strong through it all? Because it can become extremely overwhelming to see all of this media and not know how to handle it.
Right. You see all this media, and there's these different ideas of what you should be doing with your money, what you should be investing in. And what I see is it has people, it's skewing how money works because it has people jumping ahead of the progress.
Right.
Not progress, but jumping ahead of the plan that they should be on as far as what step comes first, what step comes second, what step comes third. A lot of people see these videos and say, okay, I can go from working here to having a car on tour or having an Airbnb. So they're saying, okay, let me go ahead and get an Airbnb. It's like you just skipped a lot of steps in between.
I mean, with YouTube, especially as being one of those like YouTube university things that people always say, it's one of those platforms where you can totally consume it all, and you can sit down and master something you never ever thought was possible.
Right.
But are you mastering it for real, or are you just seeing that, oh, I can just do this, or I think that's a statement that people always say, or it's just this. Is it just this, or are we missing a whole chunk of information or process that we actually have to do?
Is that the bare minimum? Is that that the bare minimum just to get through? Half the time it is. It's cutting a lot of corners. And even with the investing side of things.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of people advising others to put money into these type of stocks, this Forex, this all these different entities and lanes of investing your money to make it work for you. And my theory is it all works.
Okay. And
it all works.
However, what brings you to that theory?
Because
it all works.
As you scroll, you obviously see somebody who's successful in it.
Okay.
But it's tainting that mentality behind it, like what has been done in between to make it work, to get to this point of you seeing that highlight reel on social media, right?
I see.
So jumping those steps, like say, for example, like I'm saying, for investing for the future, a lot of people like to invest in stocks and different things like that. But it's like, okay, have you established an emergency fund first? You have a budget? Because
or is there content even being geared toward that sort of information?
Right.
Because we all know algorithms play based off of what you're consuming and what you like.
Right.
So if I like cats, which I do, I'm going to scroll and I'm going to see a kitten playing with a dog, or I'm going to see a baby with a mom. I'm not going to see this sort of information that I can actually take and be like, oh, okay, let me start thinking about my financial future.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And like, what are the initial actual steps in that as well? Because it's like, okay, you mentioned the algorithm, right? The algorithm also is like verifying and validating what we already believe and what we like to see. So it's showing us what we want to see at the same time. So it's
secluding us in our own desires, essentially. So we talked about, how it's affecting people in potentially negative way, financially. What do you think people need to be doing to kind of put themselves into plan to not be just the consumer of content, but to actually take control?
Okay, that's a great question. I would say that a person would need to, number one, sit down with a professional. You'll always hear me say that because that's why professionals are in place.
That's always number one. Yeah.
Because that's why we're in place. But sit down with a professional and get a plan tailored to your life, not a generalized plan. You scroll through these videos and you scroll through social media, you're seeing information geared towards someone who, let's say it's good information for someone with a really great credit score. And if you're not there yet, you're missing the mark. And it's going to lead to a lot of discouragement. And it's going to lead to a lot of discouragement when it comes down to making more plans, moving forwards, and then that mentality of saying, I can do this.
Yeah.
Because those aren't geared towards you.
Right.
They're not geared towards a specific part.
Although there's
a specific
plenty
situation.
Of gems or things that we do find on social media that it might steer us in the direction of saying, ooh, let me go look into this a little bit further.
Right.
I've definitely seen those content videos. I've definitely seen certain, clips of people giving out really important information that we all need to hear in media.
For sure.
So it exists.
It does exist. And I like how you said, like, you seek out, you get these gems and you get these different gems from these videos. But what you said that was key is like, go the step further. Don't take it at face value. Do the research. I see a lot of shares going on based off of the headlines of an article, but no one's digging into the meat and potatoes of the article.
Just
of what's being
taking
shown.
what the person said for face value
And running with it.
and running with it, and then going to tell their friends and be like, "Oh, did you know
You can do X, Y, Z."
And it's like, okay, that's only scratching the surface of the content, and like you said, the meat and potatoes of the actual
Right.
like of what you're supposed to be doing.
You need to get the substance of it. You need to get the full understanding for yourself. You don't want to just don't even take what we're saying at face value. I always have, like with my clients, go back and look into the stuff that I tell them so they can verify that.
Fact check, yeah.
Fact check, because I'm going to do the best for you. I want you to know, go back and check behind me so you can say, okay, yeah, he did do the best for me.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So get that information for yourself and get a plan that's geared towards you, not geared towards the masses, not geared towards an algorithm on social media because the video is entertaining, but geared towards your financial situation, your goals that you have for the future, your goals that you have for your family's future, and moving forwards in that sort of nature.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
All right. Okay, so let me ask you this, Jeanette. Talking about moving through social media, getting this information, how would you say it is currently affecting how the real estate world works, how buying the home buying process works?
Yeah.
What would you say for that?
Well, there's a few different sides to it because, like I kind of pointed out just a few seconds ago, about some really good content out there. There's definitely a lot of informative videos for like the first time home buyer, or even just even funny stuff. I see really good creative content out there that agents do, or consumers do when they're like searching for a property or doing house tours, to kind of get people excited about home buying as an overall. So there's definitely positives when it comes to what you can consume in the real estate world about that. But I would say the negatives are, and this kind of ties into the financial side of it all, is that social media is not real. It's just a highlight reel of what people, a moment in time. I mean, we've all had moments where we go, oh, that was such a beautiful time. And you want to try to recreate that all the time. So when you're watching social media and you see like $1 million house, for instance, you truly feel in that second, like, that's where I belong.
Yeah.
And then you look around in your real life and you say, I'm not quite there yet, or I don't quite have that. And it can really be discouraging. So there's definitely those aspects that can discourage the consumer and not make them think that they are capable of actually getting to that goal. So we see the overconsumption and we see all of these glamorous things, and it makes us think, oh, well, I'm just going to spend my paycheck to look the part, but I'm not going to actually save the money. I'm not actually going to find out what it takes to get qualified for a mortgage loan. I'm not going to actually implement this in my day-to-day life. So I won't ever have that dream house. And that's the scary part about it. And that's where sometimes the media can absolutely affect what it means to be a home buyer today.
Right. So you're saying it kind of hinders people from taking these risks, taking these chances, and actually moving forwards with it just based off of trying to look the part instead of actually being
people
the part.
can definitely overconsume when it comes to trying to look the part instead of actually just becoming the part. And then also with the news and things like that, it can discourage people to think that the economy is just all bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's raining, it's raining meatballs. Like, they're giant meatballs. We're never going to get out of this alive. So it makes people feel a little bit intimidated as well. So I'm kind of there with you on the fact of find the information, find the right content that's for you. So that way you are not overexposing yourself to the mindless, and you're not comparing yourself to the glamorous either.
Nah, that's a great point right there.
Yeah.
I would 1,000% agree with that.
Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks again for watching. As always, I'm Jeanette Johnson with Century 21 Connect Realty.
Isaiah Lyles with Primerica Financial Services. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share with a friend, take notes, do it all.
Always remember, to mind your business.